Hey guys, today I'm giving you the DC comic origins of Darkseid. Now, Darkseid is one of the most powerful beings in DC comic history, and is by far one of the most recognizable enemies to Superman and the Justice League. But his origins aren't actually well known to some people. Unless you've read the comics, in which case you already know it. Darkseid is part of a race called the New Gods, which are beings that are almost godlike, living on two separate planets. One planet being a lush utopia and having a golden city in it known as New Genesis, while the other remains a barren wasteland filled with evil called Apocalypse. These worlds were created after the war with the old gods against evil. Having lost their lives and their massive home world, they were able to defeat the evil in the galaxy. From the explosion of their home planet, the rubble of the planet had formed two new worlds, New Genesis and Apocalypse. Eventually, new gods would appear on both these planets. On New Genesis, there was their greatest champion, Orion, whereas on Apocalypse became the homeworld for its newest ruler, Darkseid. On New Genesis, they also housed something called the life equation, but Darkseid was on a mission to discover its opposite, the anti-life equation. With it, he would be able to have unmeasurable power and be able to conquer as many worlds as he wanted. When Orion learnt of this, he left for Apocalypse in order to stop him, but only to discover that Darkseid had already left for Earth, thinking that the anti-life equation would be lying in the mind of a human. Arriving on Earth, he developed a machine that would be able to scan the minds of every human. Orion followed Darkseid to Earth, and the two of them had a battle which ended in Darkseid being defeated and having to return to Apocalypse. But the next time that Darkseid and Orion would meet, it would actually turn out that Orion is Darkseid's son, which actually doesn't make sense since they don't look alike, but it would eventually turn their feuds into family feuds. But Darkseid has multiple different powers, including super strength, telepathy, and being fiercely intelligent. He also has something called the Omega effect, which allows him to fire pinpointed lasers from his eyes, which are locked onto any specific target that he has. But Darkseid is by far one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe, and was the main villain for the 10th season of Smallville, which is just awful. Just awful. I mean, the way they made Darkseid look in that, terrible. The entire show itself, terrible. It is the worst thing that has ever been made from DC. But I would like to see Darkseid on the big screen fighting against the Justice League, but there was a reference to Darkseid in the Justice League movie from last year. Spoiler alert, though, if you haven't seen it. Steppenwolf is sending out the parademons to try and find the last Mother Box, And as they're flying out, you hear him say, "For Darkseid," which is the forecoming of the ruler of Apocalypse. And it is actually learnt that Steppenwolf and Darkseid do have some form of relationship together. Well, guys, that's it for Darkseid, but I'll come back tomorrow to give you another origin story, but be sure to like and subscribe and comment what you think down below. And don't forget, when this week is done, next week I'll give you a top 10 list and a random order of comic book origins. So be sure to watch out for that, and I'll see you guys later.